Yep.
So,
That's what I thought you were speaking of with Sullivan. They posted some great videos.
they're really doing a good job during this pandemic with what they've been doing. And
Hmm.
I've got
Yeah,
several students down there, and they're doing a good job keeping them in class too.
yeah, I've got a couple students down there also.
And I just had my first student who went to CIA is home for Christmas, and the newspaper did a article on him yesterday. And
Wonderful.
the newspaper reporter called me and said, "My wife's been quarantined for COVID, so now I can't do it." So he did the interview over the phone, and then asked me to go in the kitchen and set up a cooking shoot for him. So I went in and did a cooking shoot Monday to get the pictures for the paper.
Well, wonderful. You should share those with us. Share the link with us.
Oh, I will when we get it. It's supposed to be done on
Okay.
Saturday edition
All right.
in our
Please
local
do.
paper.
I'll be anxious to see that. I think that's wonderful.
Happy New Year, Mark.
Hi, Deborah. How are you? Hi,
I'm
Nye.
good.
Hi, Selena.
Hey, Mark.
How you
Happy New
doing?
Year.
Good to see
Great.
you. Happy New Year to you all.
Yeah, thanks for joining us on our holiday edition.
Been a long time.
The less stressful meeting because
Yeah.
we're not in the middle of teaching and meetings and stuff like that. Um, so we'll see how many people saunter on in, but it's supposed to be really relaxing. Our focus is on the positives that we learned this year. Deborah asked me what was my feeling about the across the country, because I interact with people from all over the country. And the last meeting we had 2 weeks ago, the focus was on that, and the teachers were discussing about like how many skills that they learned that they would have never done before, like skills in creating videos, creating lesson plans online, creating these things. And it's actually the beauty of it is like it wasn't as hard as everyone originally thought. Before they were like, oh, I'll get around to making this, or maybe I'll do that. But you never had the the impetus to do that before. So, but then the pandemic shook everything up, and it's like, okay, well, now we have to learn these skills, and it's actually not as hard as we originally were imagining. So that's the basic observation that I had with with all the communications, is that going into 2021 and future school year, even beyond the pandemic, everyone has new skill sets that they could add to enhance the classroom. So I thought that was really good. It was very encouraging. Um,
Are you going to school at all, ladies, or are you teaching all remote?
Um, we're on a blended schedule, so we teach the whole class remote on Mondays. And then we have half of our class on Tuesday and the other Tuesday and Thursday and the other half on Wednesday and Friday. The biggest challenge I'm having is number one, I, I forgot about the fact that, how you just get in teacher mode and you know where they should be in October, November. You kind of know what skills that what place you should be at. But, we got into cooking in November, and I'm like, surely y'all know how to do that. But I forgot that March, April, and May, we missed 3 months of, all that cooking. So they really didn't have those skills. And then I feel like that the way that we have to do labs, because they're not allowed to eat each other's food. So
Oh,
we
wow.
have to, in lab, everybody has to make the same thing at the same time. And
Whoa.
I'm kind of walking them through it. And then the bad thing is, because we're not on site, then it's time for the bus, and I get stuck with all the, because they can only have one, I can only have one in the dish room at a time. So in the month of November, I spent all of my lunch in planning washing dishes, and then I would spend like an hour and a half after school washing dishes. But that was the price I had to pay to be able to for them to cook, because I mean, they weren't really shirking what they were doing. It's just when usually they're doing stuff in teams, and then you've got maybe a faster and a slower kid on a team, and you kind of, they don't all get done at the same time. But when you're walking everybody through step by step, it certainly changes your instruction.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you, Deborah. We have been fully remote since August. And in November, we were going back to our hybrid schedule. That did not happen. To teachers, we were going in as teachers doing our videos and teaching. And then in November, we got to go home also. And so when we go back next week, we will spend that week virtual. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Wednesday is our remote day. And then we will go into second semester, which now we will have cohort 1 on Monday, Tuesday. Wednesday is still remote, and then cohort 2 on Thursday, Friday. And before, when we thought we were having students in November, we went ahead and established different stations in our kitchen. So we have 22 stations set up. And then I have an overflow in my dining room. I can put 6 stations in the dining room. And you're absolutely right. Every week you have to use the same recipe. Like Monday, Tuesday, we're doing what's called sandwich week, soup week, stock week, pizza week, yeast bread week. We're doing it that way because we're only going to get them for 2 days. So it's going to be an extended lesson over the 2 days. But that's all you have. But again, I have 2.5 hours. So I don't know if you're on a 50-minute schedule, but I have built in, it's really just about 90 minutes of lab work. And then you build in 20 minutes in the kitchen rotations for cleaning. And then you have to have a rotation to come into the classroom, whatever they touch. But yeah, they're going to be in masks and face shields, and they will not be able to taste any food. So whatever we make, we package it and they take it home with them. And then they'll do a reflective piece on how did it taste? What could we have done better? We've made up a lab sheet so you can go home. And then KP Compass on the 2 days that we don't see you is the KP Compass assignment that matches what lab we're in. And I think that will work out for us. Not all of our students are going to come back face to face. We realize that. So the ones who are staying virtual, KP Compass and ServSafe. So we did a lot of testing before we left the last couple of weeks in December, and we've got our student ServSafe, handler and allergen. And we use the ServSafe out of the KP Compass. So the ones who did receive their food handler, we're going to have a week in January where they'll be able to get their allergen. So they'll walk away with 2 stackable certs right now. And then maybe in March, April, they can get their manager. So that's the plan. That's what we're hoping. Really do need to see the kids. At the last week of December, we did a gingerbread project when they really came alive. That was our best week ever. The kids were engaged. The spotlight was on them. They were showing us what they're doing to the gingerbread projects. And excuse me. And it really was just our best week. The engagement was right up there where it should have been. Sorry about that.
Right. At least it's not coronavirus.
No, I drank some iced tea a minute ago.
Yeah. Well, it's just great to hear. Actually, before you showed up, Celine, Debbie was sharing her corollary data with ServSafe for managers. You want to share your observations on how your students did when
well, my students are just burnt out with they're just burnt out with the computer. So we're trying to get them to do anything, it's very hard. And so I really put a big push on the manager, ServSafe manager, and with KP Compass, those that did it, because I held their feet to the fire. And the week before we took the test, I put their grade from KP Compass on each test in their grade book. So that was what went on their report card. And I knew if I didn't, they wouldn't be held, they wouldn't get it. And the ones that made above 75 on all the KP compasses, average that, all passed the manager test. The ones that didn't, that made anywhere from, I think my lowest one was about 58 to 75. They all failed the test, and the scores on the test almost exactly correlated with what they had scored in KP Compass average. So, and I told them that before they did it. And then I had one kid who came back, and he's working, and he wanted to bump up his job and get a job in the deli at Walmart. And I said, it's really sad you didn't take that seriously, because now you would have your manager certification and you would bump up in dollars, because they would hire you in the deli because you have that certification.
Yeah.
In my KP Compass now?
Yeah, so that's just like fascinating how accurate that is. I never realized that. I mean, I knew that intrinsically, but it's like, when you actually see that predictive algorithm actually come together properly, it's just cool. I'm still fascinated by it. But yeah, that's really cool that you got to experience it now, actually implementing it. So Mark, I haven't heard from you yet. So let's have you take the stage and.
Well, we're on a same kind of thing. We see our kids Monday and Wednesday. A group comes in Tuesday, Thursday. B group comes in Friday. We're all remote. It's been a struggle to get the kids to do anything. They're very, very, some of them, by our policies, the days they're not with us are called asynchronous days, and we do asynchronous assignments, and they're holding them accountable for number one, attendance, and number two, that's their daily performance grade. And some of them, we've got zeros. We've got flat out kids that have zeros. We don't know what their deal is. There's no, we we spend less time teaching and more time trying to reach out and find out what's going on. And the counselors, all of us are at wit's end with that. And so they're going by the wayside. We can't do anything about that. But even the ones that are with us, we're trying our best when they're there. Like you said, we're doubling up on the assignments. We're going almost chapter by chapter in the books just to have some kind of, let's say,
structure, maybe.
What's the structure? Yeah, that's good. Thank you. Structure to it. Some kind of structure to it. And we can't order a ton of food because we never know. Sometimes we only have 2 kids in the class. Sometimes 12 show up because another school closes and another school has 14 days of quarantine. And we had a soup week where we were able to open up. We have a restaurant there too, and we fed our teachers. We were doing sandwiches and soups at the beginning. We can taste our food. We're not, limited to that. Anybody, we can give our products to the teachers and staff. They don't have any problem with that. So we're able to do that. We had a holiday cheesecake sale that went pretty well, but we are limited because of the amount of students that we may or may not have. If we plan a weekly staff meals and we plan it, and then all of a sudden only 2 or 3 show up, and then out of those 2, 3, we have them, like you said, I think, Celine, you said you have yours for 2.5 hours. We have ours for almost 2, but some of them, there's 3 periods wedged into that. So there's period 1, 2, and 3. Some of them leave period 3 to go to another class. So now we're down to 1. And if we have our meals, then me and my coworker, we're running around doing all the work for it, and they don't get an education for it. Maybe they prep for it and stuff like that. So it's been very, very frustrating to get in any kind of a groove. But going back though and taking it chapter by chapter, and maybe focusing more on, like we did the soups and the sauces, we just spent the time doing those things, and each kid did their own soup and their own, and just break it down and have them do that. And sometimes we let it take it home, sometimes they'll eat it there, but just trying, and maybe they get better practice at it. I'm looking at it, seeing they spend more time on it, they're focusing maybe more on it, they're not rushing to get it done, and just hand holding them too, because a lot of them still have a hard time reading recipes and gathering mise en place,
Sure.
not making 1,000 trips back and forth. They can sit and say, okay, take your time to read the recipe, make an outline, go and get things and come back.
Well,
But it basically winds up as to how many kids show up and how many don't. And if they don't, are they doing their remote work? And just constantly making up assignments and constantly assessing the assignments. That's all we do, is make up assignments and assess assignments. That's getting to be a drag, because the quality of the lesson plans are not the same. They're not allowed to cook at home. We can't have them do that. They can send pictures in of what they're doing and stuff, but we can't assign things for them to do at home. We can't package things up and give them to, they don't want the liability. So the kids at home are not getting any hands-on work at all. Some of them are doing quite fine with it, and others aren't. But when it's time to Zoom, they're losing that. They're not coming in.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And when they're there, they're not doing anything. It's hard to engage them when they're on. I mean, I'm going around with our little webcams trying to focus in on things. Mirepoix, it's caramelizing very nicely. I can hear the crickets, I can hear the snores.
yeah. I'm always saying, is anybody out there? I'm tired of the little black boxes that you're teaching to. I said, share your video. And I'm on a different screen in Google Classroom. I'm showing a video. I said, is anybody out there? I'm starting, I have my ed puzzle. I'm asking questions. And it's like, are you guys looking at the screen? But you're absolutely right. We only have 45 minutes on Zoom a day. And when you log off, we go directly into office hours for specialized help and things like that. 5 or 6 are still on, which meant they just turned the camera on and walked away. So,
Yeah.
Well, I got smart to that, because I've started giving quizzes and tests during the Zoom session. So because you can keep a copy of your Zoom log.
Yep.
So I'll just say everybody has to answer question 1, and I'm going to grade this at the end of the day. So if you decide to go to sleep, or you've turned your camera on and you've turned your Zoom on, but you're not really there, then you're going to get a 0, because you didn't respond. And then I make them log off. Like, I'll end the session like at 11:22 and say, okay, everybody, we're logging off at 11:22. So that's kind of kept them more, it's made them more reliable, more responsible for what they are doing. But it's crazy. And I have a 2.5-hour class. So
that's a good strategy that you're using. I was taking attendance twice a day in the 45 minutes, twice in the period. And you never knew when I was going to do it. Share your video. So those who just had, I couldn't see their faces, that means they walked away. But I was doing a Google assignment 2 days a week. I would have a Google assignment, just what we learned in the lesson. And I may have said something very specific in that lesson. And I'm saying 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it's over. You have to have it in. Oh no, I had another class after. Oh, I didn't see it. I mean, I got every excuse in the book, and easy, 10 little easy questions, just about what you learned. Google Exit, that's all it was. I couldn't even get those back half the time.
No, they don't do them.
You're absolutely right.
But you have to keep them engaged on the chat while you're there with the Zoom. That's what I flip to. And like, if I show a video or show something up on my screen, then I'm going to say, okay, right now, respond to that, because I'm going to grade that response. What did you just learn in this 5-minute segment that I just played you, shared my screen with you. And one thing I have been doing in lab, and this might be helpful to you, is because having to do those individual stations with everybody running around getting their own mise en place. If we've done something big, or I'll mix like all the cookies up in like a larger mixer, but I assign each person something to mise en place off the recipe. Instead of everybody having to mise en place 1 cup of flour, then one person has to mise en place 5 cups of flour for the whole team. And then that gets all the mise en place done faster. And I don't have to have them in the same place, like both of them at the spice area, 2 people too close in the spice area. So that may help you out.
Yeah. Now I have 2 assistants, and so I do my recipes in advance. But again, I haven't been in class. This is the way I visualize it. I have 2 carts. Right. And so when your number's called, you come up and you get your mise en place and go back to your station. But I will roll the mise en place cart. You come get what you need with your equipment and you go back to your station. So maybe I'll do it. Maybe I'll try it your way, where I have somebody say, okay, I need 12 cups of flour. That's what you were measuring. You're mise en place at 12 cups of flour. You're doing the baking powder. You're doing the soda. That might work better. Thank you.
It is much faster because I was doing it the individual way. And then you've got one kid who's slower, and you always know who the kid you have. It takes longer. So that's the ones you give a teaspoon of salt to, for all 12 kids or whatever. And it really speeded up our mise en place. So that has helped me a lot with that.
Yeah, something I found out was kind of weird to me is that if you were in cohort 1 and you're station 12, and then cohort 2, you're station 12, both of those students were identical in their measurements. They were all late. They made the same mistakes at the same station, both classes. They just mirrored the same thing. I said, I don't know if it's this station or what, but they both have made the same kind of mistakes I've noticed.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
well,
I don't know,
we're
just spot.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean
No, I'm good. I'm good. I'm done.
We're required by the health department, like you talking about all the stations. I have to keep a log, and at the end of class, I have to show every station that kid touched in the kitchen. And I have to keep a traceable log for the health department.
That's extra
so
work.
I have to say they were at station 5, 10, and 12 in the kitchen. And these are the kids that were here that day. Because like Mark said, Mark, some days I have 5 kids and some days I have 2. And the cost of trying to do ingredients and stuff like that, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I can't believe you're being held accountable for that.
Yeah.
We're not.
That's micromanaging.
That's kind of makes me scared.
We had to write a 14-page health department plan, and the kids all had to. So let's say one of them comes up with COVID. Then the health department comes in for that notebook, and they'll trace everybody. They had to supply all their information. And like if I have a visitor who comes in the classroom, maybe I'll have an industry person, then they have to fill out health department traceable, a form traceable by the health department. I have to say what times they were there, where they were at in the classroom or in the kitchen. Like I told you, I had to go in and do that photo shoot. I had to fill out paperwork for the parent, the student, myself, and my husband drove me in. So we had to all fill out all these forms, and I had to say everywhere we were in the building. We were in the building an hour.
What state are you in again?
Ohio.
Okay, I'm in Michigan, and we can't even have visitors in the building whatsoever. But we don't have, and in fact, my health department has not even. There's so much stuff going on that we haven't even had our visit. And I get a twice yearly visit, and
right.
I just know that probably in January or February, I know that we're going to get the visit, but You know, and you're right, we may have 5 students that day, and the max that we can have is 20. So whatever it is whatever it is, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's definitely challenging, but you guys have given me some good strategies that I can put into place though with that mise en place. That was smart.
Yeah, it really has speeded up my labs. And since we're all doing the same thing anyway, you know, in the course of things, they'll get to measure different items every time we do a different recipe. So I don't feel like I'm cutting them out of that, but it has kept them separated in the lab. And you know, they kind of get in a groove, and then they're responsible. It also speeds them up a little bit because, you know, they're responsible for their 4 teammates getting theirs ready to go. So we're all ready to go at the same time.
So you have pace buddies.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's smart.
Yeah, that's brilliant. You know, all the great ideas that come from the situations that you never had to think about before.
Yeah. What state are you from, Mark?
New Jersey.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where do you teach in New Jersey, Mark? Because I taught in New Jersey prior to moving to Ohio.
Oh, Somerset County Votech in Bridgewater.
Oh, really? I taught 1 year at Fairlawn.
Okay.
And then I taught a second year because we lived up in Franklin, and I
Mhm.
taught my second year in Randolph.
Okay. Randolph, I know a little bit about.
Yeah, because Somerset's down kind of that's probably not too far from there.
No, it's not too far at all.
And my son lives in South Jersey near Atlantic City.
Okay. Yeah. So we're
Where are you at in Michigan, Celine?
I'm outside of Detroit. I'm in what's called Royal Oak, Troy area,
Yeah,
which is just north of, you know, we're in the suburbs of Detroit. So
right.
yeah.
Well,
And we have
I live in rural Ohio. We're just south of Columbus.
Okay. Yeah. We actually have 4 campuses. And so we're in southeastern Michigan, but I'm in we have like 14 feeder schools, but my other 3 campuses that are spread out in the county, they only have like 3 to 4 feeder schools. So it's a little different, the makeup of students that we get. So we get the most, you know, diverse population of all the 4.
Right. Are you all losing a lot of students because of it? I mean, our classes in all our career tech, 'cause we're not a VOTech, we're a comprehensive high school, but we have our own VOTech. So all of our students come out of our 1,600 kids population. But if the family chooses for them to be all online, they make them drop out of their career tech. I mean, I've got seniors that are, you know, 2 grading periods away from getting their college credit for my class, and the school system made them drop out because the parents made them go all online come January.
Yeah, we have the exact same thing. If you are not returning in person, when we go back in person, you choose to stay virtual, then they're going to send you back to your home school.
Yeah.
And they send out surveys to the parents. Are you returning face to face, or are you staying virtual? And I think about 35% of the students at that time said they were going to stay virtual. So they just told us that it will not be any virtual remote teaching. And I said, you can't do that. You know, if you've got some of your students out there, you still have to teach to them. Well, that's what they said. So I don't know if they're going to rescind that, but I know that I have to stay in contact with my students. So even over this break at noon, Monday through Friday at noon, I check my emails, and students are responding, turning in homework, asking questions. So, you know, you did. I think if you, over this 2-week break, if you just did not communicate with them at all, I think you would have lost some of them. So I think this was a way, using Remind and, you know, the Google Stream. I think just to say, hey, how's everybody doing? We're midweek, or hey, we're Friday. We'll see you guys on Monday. I think that has helped a little bit, you know, with retention, I think.
Right.
But
Yeah.
So
we
Mark,
don't know.
how's your schools handling that?
No, we're keeping everybody. We're offering them to come back with us in person. And if they choose remote, they choose remote, but they can still stay with us. They're not telling them they can't, which is good. But the ones that just haven't responded at all are amazing, and they're left on our roster too. So
Yeah.
I don't know what they should be taken off, because they're not making any effort. And
Yeah.
well, I don't want to, I'm not at their home. I don't see what's going on, but now I can pretty much assume that they don't care. So goodbye. I'm sorry, but that's it. I'm tired of trying to get a hold of them anymore and them not responding. So as much as I'd love to not lose anybody, they should really be told to leave at this point, because they're not doing anything. And I have heard from a few parents saying that they're not doing any work at all. They're just sitting home watching television and not doing anything. And because I work, I can't keep on them. And if I'm take work off and try to make them do their homework, then they might do it. But since I'm not home, they're not doing anything. So kick them out of the program. That's it.
Yeah, Mark, I would have to kind of agree with you. The students who are, failing my class, and when I say failing, I really think in culinary, really, you should only be getting an A or a B. So I'm talking about my students who are getting D's and E's.
Yeah.
When I talk to the counselor and I talk to the parents, they also are failing at least 1 to 2 of the academic courses too. So it's
At
across
least.
the
Yeah,
board.
At
it's
least.
not just
Yep.
your class.
At
Right.
least. At
Across
least.
the
So
board.
why am I having meetings about this still? That's wasting time. See you later. Goodbye.
Yep.
Goodbye. I'm
I've been in so
sorry,
many.
but that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm not, even if it's an IEP or something like that. Well, you want to know what? It's enough.
That's
enough.
what I'm saying. I was in 7 IEP meetings before the holiday, and it's like and the same trend. It's like, well, they're not just failing here. So if they're failing at their home school, I can't really do much for them here.
Well, I'd like
And
to see them
you know,
survive in their homeschool and get
right.
the degree that they
Yep.
need from them.
Before you get
And-
this
Right,
elective.
exactly.
That's
If you want a statistic or a number, that's not a very good way to, I'd like the child to succeed. And if
exactly.
it means dropping our course, then that's the way to do it. But if our course is going to make them succeed, then they have to put the effort forward. I'm not in the mood for playing around with I don't give grades. They have to earn them in any situation.
That's right.
It doesn't matter about I can be very, very patient with them, and I can accept late work, and if I choose. But now is not the time to deal with that. It should be, this is your schedule. You should know it by now. Let's get going. Come on.
Yeah, everyone's in the same boat, so can't treat you any differently.
Right. That's it. That's enough.
But I think that they think, we just really gave the 2020 kids a pass.
Yep.
They, we went home, we
Might have
went
been a
out for
bad
spring
move.
break. We never came back. They didn't make them take tests. They passed
Yeah.
them. They just gave them grades. They passed them. They didn't have to be accountable for anything. And I think this group saw that happen. They didn't have to
And-
take state tests. And they think, why do I need to do anything? They're going to pass me
And we were the
whether
ones-
I do anything or not.
We were the ones, at least I felt, the teachers were the ones that were accountable for giving all the work, maintaining all the records, doing all this, and then all of a sudden it meant nothing.
Uh,
I told my
Yeah, they
principal-
just kept backing us down.
yeah,
I went very strong out, and then, oh no, you can't give homework or you can't give stuff. I mean, they just backed us. They just
told us
dumbed
to
it
do one
down
thing
too
and then
much.
they backed off. And then I told my principal at the end of last year, I said, I have a huge problem putting a grade in that book that they didn't earn that. And I don't think I'm going to hit that button. What do you feel about that? I don't think I'm going to hit that button. You're going to have to convince me that that's a good move, because I don't think it is. That sends a wrong message. And then, like you say, that ate away at the other ones. They saw that getting done. Maybe they figure, oh, they'll just pass us. They'll just pass
There
us.
you-
I'm not saying that's totally right, or maybe they're not all feeling that way, but maybe some of them are. So,
I think that's across the board, Mark. Very good observation. I tell my students, I said, look, I give you the assignment on Monday. You probably don't want to miss my class on Monday because I lay it out what we're going to do the entire week. And then it's due on Friday. I don't even look at it on Friday. I look at it Monday morning when I get all these late assignments. I said, you have a week to complete your assignment.
And they're
So
still,
I don't understand how you don't, I didn't, as I said, after a while, they said, well, I don't understand how you work Google Classroom. And I'm just, look, week 8, week 7, week 6, it's very easy. And then when I'm in these IEPs, I share my screen and I show them their grades and it's missing. And the parents just gasp, oh my God. I said, this is what we're struggling with. So I said, I don't need to get an assignment that's 42 days late. What am I supposed to do with that?
how about this one?
No credit.
How about this one? Are your parents allowed to see the Google Classroom grades? Are they, can you invite them in?
No,
They took
I don't
that away
invite them.
from us. Well, I like that. Liked inviting the parents in. They were invited in as, I don't know what they saw really on their screen. But I know that they could track their kids' performance and at least help them along as best they can. They didn't even tell us, our people at our school. They took that away. And all of a sudden, my coworker says, where are the emails in here? So, because he wanted to send message out to the, I said, no way. Because I'm the one that invited everybody in and put them in and everything. I said, wow, they're not in there. And then I'm getting calls from parents, because I'm the one saying, check Google Classroom to the parents, check Google Classroom, everything's on. And all of a sudden, I don't even know they can't do it.
No.
So I said to one of the guys in the hallway, the tech people, I said, who's the genius that made that up and didn't even tell us about it? First of all, it's a bad move because that helps the parents. That's why we lost a couple of them, because the parents couldn't help the kids anymore.
Well,
And we use a Genesis grading system. You can't get the material. You can't get the assignments on that. We send it all onto Google Class. That shows your grade and everything, and if things are missing. But they got to see the actual assignments too. So
Well,
it's
well, the reason I didn't do that is because a counselor asked for it, but for her student who was failing, she asked if she could go into my Google Classroom. I said, absolutely not, because she said, oh, he's failing at his homeschool, but I can negotiate a grade. And I didn't want that happening. But what happens every time I speak with a parent, I'm also sending a progress report electronically to them. But if I'm in an IEP, that's the only time I share their name and the assignments and the scores that they have in Google Classroom. So, I don't know. Maybe going second semester, our team will sit down and talk. We've already kind of had one meeting about what went right, what went wrong. What do you think we can do to increase engagement? What are we going to do about assignments? But again, hopefully with us going face to face, it will look a lot different. But you still have to do assignments. It's not just coming to lab 2 days a week and saying, okay, I'm done. You still have to be accountable for those other 2 days and those other assignments that are due with your other.
they don't seem to get that, a lot of them.
Right.
They just
That's
don't.
your theory part of
Or
your
they
class.
get it and they, two days before the marking period, you'll get 40 assignments that are way late. Yeah.
You're absolutely correct. But second semester, I'm going to stop all of that. I'm going to just turn off those assignments after a week. That's it. I won't accept them after a week late anymore.
Yeah. I think holding your ground on that is good, because then they know that that's it.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
even when they know, it's tough though. It's
yeah.
It's really to regiment anything anymore. I mean, we're all human beings. We know, we even tell them, gosh, if you have a 5-page paper doing something, reach out to us. Let us know if you're going to be a day or two. Well,
Communicate.
We're not that tough, but
right.
when you
communicate with us and let us know prior to, not after.
Right. Because, we're being told that's their daily performance grade for when they're not here. That's their asynchronous work for when they're not with us. And some of them choose to be all remote. So they'll join in, and if they join in and they're in the classroom that way, then that's it. They get the classroom stuff, but they're still held accountable for the 2 days that they're not.
How does your school handle them doing work if they're on quarantine or have COVID?
they still have to do it, but if I guess they have to get a note or something. I don't know. I had one, we haven't had anybody that's had it. There's been a testing positive, and family members testing positive, so they've stayed home. But I have not had anybody that has actually had it and been so sick that they couldn't do it. I mean, that's got to be handled differently, of course. Yeah, but I've never had it.
Well, I wouldn't think it'd be any different than if somebody got like some really bad flu and they were out for like a couple of weeks.
Yeah, we definitely have to adjust that. Yeah,
I just knock those aside. I just X those assignments out for them. If they're off for a week, I X those out for them.
yeah, there'll be plenty of others to get in
Right.
there.
There's nothing you can do. So
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're trying to cook, so I've had so many. There's no way I can recreate that lab, so I've just had to X them out because they are, and they don't tell us, they're not allowed to share with us. It just shows them medical. We don't know whether they've got COVID, whether they're on quarantine with a family member. We don't know what their status is. We just know that they're out. So I've just been, there's not much else you can do with lab about that because, what can you do? Nothing really. And you can't go back and make those labs up.
right.
Are there any videos that could accompany anything that you're watching? I know they could watch the video and ask, like even I did something, I was doing sauces and I did beurre blanc. So I found a really cool video on YouTube for beurre blanc, and those who couldn't be there for some reason, I just made a Google form and I put the video in the Google form and they filled out.
Oh,
10
that's a good
questions about
idea.
it.
Yeah, I do
was a
that.
pretty cool thing. And those Google forms work well because they're very organized and you can
Accountability.
Yeah. So I figured out that, and I figured, well, that's the next best thing. If I could make the video myself, I could make it, but there's not enough time in the day. I wish I could, but I found a really, some good supplemental things that work that way. And
Well, the videos in KP Compass are good. If you have KP,
yeah, of course,
Yeah.
of course. Yes. Yeah. Just match them up with the lesson and say, here's that. And
Yep.
even KP's assessment on that,
Yep. That's
those, you can use those right there. Boom, there it is. Yeah.
Mhm. So I want to bring up, when you were talking about earlier about next semester when kids can come back and be in the classroom again. I think probably the message that really needs to be brought up is something that you already brought up earlier, is that when you come back and you're doing in person and you didn't perform very well in any like what you were saying earlier, last spring when you lost 2 months of stuff of learning, that you can't perform the skills then for the spring semester because it's everything builds on something else, and so if you come in lacking all those skills because you just checked out, then you're gonna be really hurting.
mhm.
And I think that everyone thinking that they could get a pass for everything, eventually it's going to catch up on them.
That's right.
And just understanding those consequences is probably something that really needs to be
Addressed.
really addressed and shouted from the rooftops. It's like, yeah, you're gonna get a pass for this, but you're not gonna be able to do all these other things because you don't have the foundational skills, and that's gonna hurt you in the long run.
Sure.
They don't have the long-term vision to see that. They're only seeing what's most relevant to them that moment. So I just want to kind of bring that up. So it looks like Chef Gordon has joined us, and you've written. You're welcome to unmute and just kind of join the conversation. But we're just kind of venting, talking about the different challenges we've had, and also we want to also try to get some positives in of what what we learned. So if you have anything you'd like to share.
I learned that uh, I had to be kind to myself.
Yeah,
At
Debbie,
at the ending of the day, like literally midterm for me, I stopped giving new assignments. It was not worth it. My kids, I'm waiting on them to do assessments. If you're failing by less than a 40, ain't no point in me putting in more zeros. I'm still working on my documentation for stuff. They want, there was talk, and we had our meeting before the holiday, that teachers were supposed to go back in the building. So the world just doesn't give a damn about teachers. And next semester, regardless, I think I'm going to do meal kits so we can cook more. And because I'm treating all my classes like they're culinary too. And I have a double coded class. So mind you, in the real world that does no longer exist, if there wasn't anything crazy in the world, I would have like 30 kids in my class. I teach in a home ec classroom. So that's it. Got to put an order list together because we'll be outside with however many children come. And I don't know how to do it hybrid, meaning I have a child in front of me and I have a child at home. And then kids alternate what days they come to school. That's how they have it set up. And then we're going to go back to a regular school day, which we should have had from the beginning. So at this point, I just go to therapy and take supplements.
Hey, listen, I had too many strokes in class in 45 minutes, December 4th. So I'm learning to chill. I got so stressed out. But earlier we talked about, you asked me privately about the
Hybrid.
how was doing it hybrid. We talked a little bit about it earlier in this session, if you want to go back and listen to it. But one of the things that I found that helped me most, because each individual kid has to make their own stuff, we can't do anything in teams, is that I assign them, like, if we're using a cup of flour in a recipe, then a student is assigned to get 1 cup for each student in the class that's in the lab. So instead of having them get all their stuff individually for the mise en place, you just assign each kid to get it for everybody in the lab. And then that helps, it keeps them separated, and it helps your lab go faster.
Okay. All right. I'll keep that in mind. All right. So, and we have lots of gardening stuff that we need to finish. So I guess we'll be playing in dirt.
Where are you from?
Georgia.
Yeah, I'm in Atlanta.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
On your meal kits, I was in the parking lot at school, and the students would drive up, or the parents would drive up to pick up the product, but not
That's
all
what
of them did it. Yeah,
and
not all of them did it.
And that's fine, just to give the
Right.
kids something to break up the monotony.
We did it 3 different times.
Okay. There's a chef that is doing, Chef Keo. I don't know if she's been on any of these calls. I know she's done it. And like she did a family demo night, or I think everybody made soup together. So I think that's really cool. So, and if they don't show up, there's some that who will. And just to really give them something different.
Well, some of the parents and students appreciated it. The ones who picked it up, they really appreciated it. And the other students found out, and they said, well, okay, maybe next time I can do it. I even dropped things at people. If they put it in the chat, I dropped it at their home. I don't have a ride up there. I said, put your address in the chat, and I would even take it to them. So.
Yeah, there's another chef in the district who did that.
Yeah. Do what you can.
Oh yeah, I've already got permission to make my own liability form. She was like, girl, don't go through legal. You'll be in legal all day. She was like, she said, do your thing. You're straight. It's like, she said, do it like a field trip. Get the parents' permission and then just keep it on moving. So, and, but that's really contingent upon, because if the school is shut down, my principal really doesn't want us in the school. And she's trying to just to keep us focused.
What's the
But
name
we
of your
gonna
school?
see. I'm at McNair High School in DeKalb
Oh, okay.
County
Well, I'm McNair.
Schools.
Okay, my cousin graduated from there. They live in Stockbridge, but they
Okay.
graduated from McNair. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at. I did get to teach they did in the course tests, but at least I got to see some of my babies that weren't making it to class.
Mm, okay.
So we'll see if that does anything. So versus fussing, I'm like, if you need help, ain't no shame in it. And as far as kids failing, I had to take out zeros, like I heard some of y'all saying. I wish Google Classroom had a cutoff for assignments, but
They do.
They do.
Yep. You can put the data in, and it'll say accepting responses. You can cut it off yourself.
All right, I'm gonna go back and look. Okay,
When you do
that's
a
good.
Google form or something, and you say it's due.
Oh yeah.
Put,
I
just
mean,
take off not responses. That's right.
okay, I know for the Google form, and I like that video suggestion that was put that Mr. Mark said. I like that. Escoffier has some good videos. And there's someone else that does. You may have to pay, but I know Escoffier has some good free videos because I'm all about the freeness.
Yeah.
So and we got 2 more weeks in the semester. We got a Mercy week coming up, and then we got finals. And then we get 2 seconds to breathe, and we're supposed to start second semester.
Oh boy.
I love being a teacher. Yay.
Yeah, the only thing our kids did respond to in the chat, hey, do you guys want to have a midterm? You should see the windfall of no's with that one. So
I
no
even
sense
bother
in
with a
killing ourselves.
midterm. Yeah,
no
their
sense in killing
final.
ourselves.
My CA2 kids they're doing a food truck assignment. So we're doing everything but costing because they stopped coming to class. And then my other kids, we've done safety and sanitation. So whoever passes, I'm going to pay for them just to take the test and get certified because a lot of them want to work. I want them to work with an extra 50 cents in their pocket.
That's right.
So that's where I'm at with my children. Good old education. So
we made it to the halfway mark.
Yeah.
Yeah. Full.
I think I may have mentioned this before, but in the state of Michigan, our governor came up with a teacher COVID grant. And if you filled out the paperwork and you were 3/4 time prior to COVID, that you can get $500 for a teacher and $250 for your assistant. And it goes, that's coming out. We did our paperwork, and that's coming in February 25th. And I was wondering if anybody else, any other states have any teacher grants?
I haven't looked at my grant list. The stuff that they did have because of the CARES Act. One woman I talked to, she was like, "We have never had this many responses ever." But a lot of the stuff around sports equipment, physical education, all of those are still open. Walmart still has stuff. Target still has stuff. But when they release this next batch of monies, I'm gonna see what grants pop up. So, and I think the cattle people are still doing one. The beef people.
Right. Okay. Beef council.
Yeah. So I'm waiting on their response. So.
I'm really good on grants and stuff, but I haven't seen anything in Ohio where, the governor or anything like that. That sounds like they're spending a lot of money in our school system. You can tell that they got money for stuff. But again, I wasn't always in education. And when I see the waste that goes on when they get grants like that, they just it's like common sense goes out the window, and they buy all the stuff that's not going to be useful. And, once we get past this, you're going to have a whole lot of stuff that was purchased that certainly wasn't necessary.
You're right.
Yep. Sad but true. Sad but true. just throwing money at everything, but not the right stuff, which is
There you go. Not a teacher's salaries, I bet you
teacher
that.
salaries, teacher resources. Um,
Yeah, it's interesting to see what new careers teachers move on to, because it's going to be a wave. Huh? No. So I'm interested to see what happens. So all of my chef friends have been working.
that's good to
So,
hear.
oh yeah, they're all personal chefs. So one of my chef friends, she cooked for the mayor. A lot of people, because they're not going to restaurants, are doing smaller events. I've done a few things where I'm like, I'll drop it off. See you when I see you. As soon as people show up, I'm out the door. So,
I saw
And,
an article yesterday that they were talking about how for catering, how that it's going to be changed and have to be more individualized and, not just you can send a
Right.
pan of this and a pan of that for a lunch where everybody serves themselves. And it was kind of interesting. They were showing what containers and stuff that they wanted to come up with to be able to service that kind of a luncheon.
yeah, we need to all invest our money in eco-ware.
Exactly. Everything is
Or
portion controlled
we
now.
need to have our little own session and think of something and create something on our own, us that are here.
Yeah, something. Shoot, yeah. So hopefully, my county I think is trash. Other counties got Christmas bonuses that were very nice. I'm so glad they were able to do that for those teachers. So
That's sad to hear. I guess the saying goes, follow the money.
yeah, my daughter. Well, the babies all want to go back to school. So my son reminds me constantly that he hates it. I'm like, okay, but we here. Where else can you go to school, with just your polo shirt on and a pair of underwear?
There you go. The COVID, the Zoom outfit.
You don't have to wear shoes. You can just prop your computer in the kitchen and make your breakfast. So, and when you have babies being a chef, they don't just make a bowl of cereal.
Oh, they elaborate
Oh, my son made him an oxtail
taco.
omelet or something. I said, well, go ahead. If there's meat, he'll make it. And he likes onions and garlic now, so I'm all for it. It's all it. So
Well, onions and garlic are the best social distancing foods right now.
yes, and great for the immune system. Great for it. So
Yeah, it's just crazy how things are. So, what is everyone looking forward to in 2021?
spring break.
I just want to try to get back to some point, where the kids can have some normalcy. I mean, you're talking about with graduation coming up and stuff like that. I mean, it was so insane last year. I'm just hoping with the vaccines out there and everything that they'll open, that we'll be able to maybe by May and June get back to some sense of everybody's, not going to be so afraid to breathe.
Yeah, I agree with you. We left in March, and so if we get back to February, March, these kids would have been out of the school for an entire year. So
Yeah.
I agree. I want them to at least be able to do some prom and do some of the things that they just saw they were 11th graders, so they missed out. They saw their seniors miss out, and I don't want this group to miss out. I really don't. They've missed enough. They've sacrificed enough. So if it's safe, I hope that I just need it to be safe and that the vaccine is it does what it's supposed to do. And so that you're right, these kids and will get back to some normalcy because they need structure. And the structure, I feel most of them were getting it at the schoolhouse. They weren't getting it at home. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the real issue, I think, right there. You know.
Yeah, that's right. I agree with you there. Yeah.
I want humans to change their behavior so the vaccine works.
Yeah.
You can have a vaccine all day, but if people ain't changing their behavior, i.e.,
Right.
we still have to get a flu shot, although I don't do it because there's viruses mutate. So, but until people change their behavior and leadership grows a pair.
There you go. Yep.
Yeah.
So,
I have to say that in our school, the kids are very responsible as far as doing the masks. We all anticipated, oh, they're going to go out every 5 minutes and want a mask break. They're so no,
not a mask break.
yeah, whatever they wanted to do. No, though it's actually they've been very responsible. I have not had to really enforce any kind of things like that. They've been wearing it fine and doing things and going about their day, being used to now because our kitchen and my restaurant are right next to the cafeteria. Everybody gets their own little desk in the cafeteria, 6 feet apart.
Oh,
They
nice.
eat their sandwiches. They are looking out there. There's no round tables with 20 people crowded around it anymore. There's just everyone in there, and they're all being very respectful of that. Now I'm thinking we might be too lackadaisical. I've got to really enforce more of the, social distancing as far as letting them get too close to one another. I have to pay attention to that sometimes when you're looking at Zoom and seeing if kids are engaged, and then you're trying to watch the classroom too.
Yeah, how do you do that?
Well, it's just I
How do
carry
you do that?
I carry the Chromebook around with the camera on it at all times, pretty much. Even got a little webcam too, where and I just try to keep them involved. I say, "Are you dizzy yet? Because I look like this. Are you at least kind of going like this because you're dizzy?" Because I'm trying to engage them and ask them questions and keep them involved as much as I can. But yeah, that's a challenge in and of itself. We're at the point now where at least we're turning on the mute button, and sometimes you talk and you're muted, and
Yes, and they'll just let you talk.
you make a great point, and all of a sudden you look down and that red slash is there, and you're like, shoot, I hope I can remember now. And then I turn to people in the class and say, who was paying attention to me? What did I say? So you can tell the guys what I just said because I was on mute.
Yeah, they say that's a quote of 2020. You are muted. You are muted.
You are muted.
Yeah, we were in a faculty meeting and somebody got a phone call and all we heard was, I dreamed about you last night, and everybody was like, mute it. We don't want to know. I was like, and all the chat was like, mute. I was like, oh, Lord Jesus, they can't get any better than this. That and people going into the wrong meeting, which tickles me. I'm like, we've been on the same Teams meeting for 6 months now. Come on.
So you can't blame it on the kids. You understand the kids' issues.
My kids now. One time I was late to class, they called me. They were like, where you at? I said I was about to log on.
Or you have the kid with the cat in the background, and then they've got a lampshade on their head. They're doing everything to distract. You're just being.
I would enjoy all of that.
At least they're there. Yeah.
Yes,
Right.
I would enjoy it. I've talked to more 5-year-olds, 2-year-olds, whoever's siblings, all of them. They just pop in. Hey, how you doing?
Yeah. I had a student and she was in her grandmother's bakery because I was saying her wall was blue. We were doing gingerbread. And I said, oh, you have something on the wall there. And she goes, well, I'm really in my grandma's bakery. Chef Tolliver, my grandmother thinks she knows you. And it's like, I said, well, yeah. And the grandmother said, well, put her on Zoom. And the grandmother said, didn't you teach back in 19 something? I said, yeah, that would have been me. So I said,
Awesome.
adult ed. I taught her adult ed people, not regular school. That's how you know it's almost time to retire, when you're teaching 2 generations.
I had a Spanish teacher who had 3, and I've taught a family. I got the
Yeah.
last. No, there's one more.
One more time.
But I've taught
So-
an entire family. A couple of families have gone
Yeah.
through our school. As you know, folks move in their neighborhoods and their stays. So I just look forward. That's all I do is look forward.
That's funny.
Oh, yeah, I apologize for the way that you see me. I had knee surgery, so I'm icing my knee down. That's what I'm doing when I'm on the Zoom call.
You
I
taking
have
your
to-
turmeric?
Yeah, I have tumor. I have everything, but I have to keep.
Awesome.
I have my ice blanket over my knee right now, so
Okay.
that helps with the swelling. So
Oh, take care of you so you can get back to breakdancing soon.
well, no, they let me bring home my adjustable chair from work. So as I'm sitting, I have to sit, stand kind of thing. So they let me bring that home. So that
Oh,
helps when I'm
nice.
sitting at the computer.
You're in Detroit?
Yeah, outside of Detroit. Yep. Hmm.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, we're in the suburb, but yeah, we get
Is it
students.
snowing there?
Yep, it snowed Christmas morning. Somebody said it snowed last week, but it's snowy, icy mix today, which is gonna freeze over overnight.
Oh, good times. I'm glad I left the Midwest. All right.
You know what? But we're in December. We're almost in January. We haven't had a major snowfall yet, so we're good. But ours will go all the way to March though.
Right.
You know.
Oh, it snowed in May once in St. Louis. So
So no, we're good. We're good. We had a white Christmas, and that's what everybody wanted, so that was cool with that.
it snowed for 5 seconds here. It was nice while it lasted. I had to hurry up and get the kids. Go outside right now.
So yeah,
We
yeah.
had
So
inches for Christmas on the ground. So
How many inches?
6.
Oh, fun.
We did-
Atlanta
we
would have
about-
shut down. Folks would have lost their complete minds.
We
yeah.
were pretty shut down here. We were at a level 2 snow emergency. So
Oh,
level 3 you can get ticketed for being out on the roads.
Oh, wow.
mm.
Guess you better eat your staples.
This group together, it's very
Eat your staples.
Well, here it's hot and sunny. Well, actually, not hot. We
Are
had
you in Arizona?
Arizona?
You're in Arizona tonight? Yeah.
We finally had rain for the first time in over 133 days.
Good.
Last-
for you
Damn.
guys.
Yeah, I know. It wasn't that much either, but but we haven't had a single storm.
What's your temperature like?
Now?
Yep.
Mid
70?
mid 60s right now.
Oh, okay. That's
and-
still good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And then next week it'll be, oh yeah, still mid 60s. So we're in a little cooling trend now.
Does Arizona have a rain season or no?
We usually do actually. We have like in the summer we have monsoons, but this summer we didn't have any. So
Oof.
it's unusually dry and hot, like unusual. Like we haven't had. We broke all temperature records, and then some this summer. Like we had over something days of over 110 degree weather, and the previous
Oh, wow.
was I can't remember the number now, but let's just say the previous record was 38 days, and we were at 60 days. So we broke the record, and we almost doubled it. It was pretty bad. Like our plants are suffering here. It's just like we're actually seeing like climate problems. I mean agricultural problems because like the trees weren't used to that much heat. And also lack of rain too. So it's like it's we usually get like these monsoons. So anyway, yeah, 2020 very bizarre year all around. But actually, I want to kind of like bring up a little Mark what you said earlier. with how well behaved your students are. And I think one of the things that I observed from everything is that the students really appreciate school so much more now. Like they've never had a disruption in their academic careers until now. Actually, they've been going to school since they were infant, like little kids, you know, preschool, kindergarten, and all the way up to high school. So, basically that was the norm. And then sending them all home, they're like, oh wow. Before they're like, oh, I hate school. They're like, oh, it's actually not that bad. I hate being home, or whatever. Not seeing my friends. Not interacting with my teachers. Not doing, not participating in activities and things like that. So, I think forward, like with this generation, and also all generations before going down, like all the way to elementary school, they're going to have a different attitude coming to
Sure.
school now. That they're like, okay, yeah, good to have this structure.
My prediction is that attendance will increase once we go back to school.
A very solid prediction.
Oh,
And I see you've been replaced by a puppy.
yes. And now this is a grown, old, hateful man. I just have snacks.
Mhm.
So
Well,
he's old, and my daughter has a giant black dog, and he's a baby.
Because of the social aspect of it.
Oh,
Oh,
It'll be interesting to see how many years it takes for us to get back into a more academic mode. Because I think the kids who have been out during this period of time with this kind of jumbled up learning they've had, it's going to take a while to get back into a more academic mode.
mhm.
I think it'll be easier for us because we're hands on. Now the other
I-
classes.
Yeah. The math is going to take a horrible hit. A huge hit. All
Thank
the
God you have numbers all in culinary. So
Yeah, but it's going to take a while for the academics to get back to standard. So like what we thought was what we were before below standard by a year or two. Now we're going to be double that,
mhm.
2 to 4 years below the quote unquote standard of where the kids should be or ought to be. So it'll be
What's interesting, I want to tell you what my student said about his interview. He came in from CIA and for Christmas, and the reporter that interviewed him asked him, how CIA compared to our classes, and he said, we've actually had to do all this math and writing, and I didn't know how much in culinary, because they've had to write menus. And
mhm.
he said, yeah, and you laughed at Chef Bates and fussed at me when you had to do that in class, didn't you? And he said, yeah, he said, I'll have to admit that. So he told the reporter that.
True.
It wasn't just about cooking, that he had to do math and writing.
Oh
It's
yeah,
true.
my kids used to hate it. I'm like, y'all better. But I would give them questions like, "What is your superpower and where did it come from?" And my babies used to get deep. I was like, "Oh, okay, all right." So they got so deep once. I said define a problem, and they went to the bottom of the ocean. I had to call the school psychiatrist just to check in with them, just to make sure they was on the level.
Wow.
Like they showed like where a lot of them answered. They told me their questions reflected anxiety. So like if I have a problem, now the question is what is a problem? But my kids were like, well, if I have a problem, I just shut down. Or if I have a problem and I keep on asking people for help, I do so and so and such and such. So at least I was able to expose my kids to what resources are available. Because we've had two suicides at our school, one principal and one student. So
Oh,
a lot of resources, and so the kids are using them, which is a good thing. They probably, in the other cases, they wouldn't have realized.
You
These
said one
resources are
principal
here.
and one student?
Yeah, our AP committed suicide just before the first week on my birthday on August 19th. And then a student committed suicide maybe in October, November.
Mm.
So, one thing that my county does not have is a virtual crisis response team. Our school developed a template for it. So at least that exists for our baby. So I'm glad about that.
That is good.
Mhm. Learn how to use them resources. That's why I tell them resources are wonderful. Use all of them.
Well, something to be thankful for.
Wow.
Yeah. And thank COVID for providing those resources now. Created the problem, but now we have more resources to solve other problems. I guess that's the silver lining that we have to
Yeah.
cling on to.
Mental health is almost cool, so I'm here for it.
Yeah, it's not a stigma anymore, you know.
Right.
Every other week at our school, they're offering teachers PLC. It's wellness PLC.
Yeah.
Good.
Which is good. It's very, very positive. Yeah, it's very good. It's not a session where we all bitch and moan. It's very healthy. You know, it's ways to actually deal with certain things. It's become quite popular. Yeah.
Especially if you have a professional to help you unpack stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, we have our what we call linkages program, and the counselors down there work with the kids, but they're just as willing to work with the teachers as well. So they put together a nice little PLC for us, which helps.
I was rocking. I love it.
It's very cool. Yeah, very appreciative.
Well, guys, I'm about to go. I guess I'll feed my children.
Yeah. See you, Chef Gordon.
Okay.
Have it.
All right.
Happy New Year and have a
Thank
great
you, y'all.
school year.
So
Thank you. See you next year.
So are we all leaving or
I gotta go too. Yeah.
yeah?
Gotta go.
I mean, it's been a good time, you know. So thanks for coming back, coming down and visiting during the holidays, you know, during break. But let's kick 2020 out and kick 2021 butt and make it the best year possible. So happy New Year, everyone.
New Year.
All right. Happy New Year. Thank
Yeah.
you so
And
much,
stay
Nye.
safe.
Appreciate
Stay
you.
safe.
Yeah.
Y'all too.
Take care.
All
Bye.
right. Peace, y'all.
Bye bye.